Joining us now to talk more about the Saints-Bears matchup this Sunday in the Superdome, Michelle Steele from ESPN. Michelle, your overall thoughts on a matchup that pits a Bears franchise that sort of limped into the playoffs against a New Orleans team whose mantra this season is Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, I think this is one of the toughest matchups of the weekend. I mean, that being said, I think this Bears team has said all the right things this week. All the players are obviously happy that they've made the postseason when it didn't look like that when they had that 6-game losing streak in kind of the middle of the season. But and they have to say the right things, right? They want to get momentum back on their side. They remembered not just before the Packers game, they had that 3-game win streak to kind of end the season, and then they played Aaron Rodgers, and we all know what Aaron Rodgers does in games against the Chicago Bears. So things didn't really go their way, but they do feel excited about what could possibly happen. They feel that this Saints team isn't unbeatable, right? They brought them to overtime week 8 against New Orleans. And arguably, Fletcher, remember the most glorious moment in Bears modern history, at least, happened in the Superdome with the 1985 Bears. So if you have a long memory, good things have happened in the Superdome, but this is going to be an extremely difficult matchup. Even though Mitchell Trubisky is playing a lot better. I mean, he won that starting job back after he was benched. Everything was taken from him. I think the Bears coaching staff is using his athleticism a lot more than they had been at the beginning of this season. But nonetheless, look, Roquan Smith still hasn't been clear for this game. And if Alvin Kamara is back on that field, I think this could be a lot more lopsided than the current spread suggests.
Michelle, I'm glad you mentioned Mitchell Trubisky, the second overall pick in the 2017 NFL draft. When he was selected, some compared him to Drew Brees. After the last 4 years, those comparisons have kind of gone away, so to say. Does he have the ability to come in here on the road and win against a team like the New Orleans Saints, a team that has been so close to the Super Bowl for 4 consecutive seasons and one that is really loaded for bear, so to say?
Okay, so you're basically asking me if the last, 3 or 4 games can make up for the last 4 years in the minds of Bears fans. I think that's a tall order. I mean, I can just tell you, being in Chicago, it has been a maddening season, but you can say it's been kind of a maddening 4 years for Bears fans. And I think that there are a few things here that hurt Mitchell Trubisky in terms of his long-term prospects in Chicago. And first, you need to start out with that draft class. Listen, when you get drafted higher than Patrick Mahomes and higher than Deshaun Watson, you're going to be compared to them for the rest of your career. And he's acknowledged that. I'll give him that much. It's not his fault where he was drafted. Secondly, there's so much pressure on him because Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy have their careers essentially staked on this guy and what he can do on Sundays. He has shown you in the last month or so that you can win with him, and this offense can put up points. I think they were averaging, prior to that Green Bay game, they were averaging something like 35 points a game, and you can lean on that athleticism. At the same time, there are maddening things that he does. He's put in bad situations, and he'll make poor decisions. a, an elite quarterback does not make poor decisions. You'll see sometimes really regrettable picks. He had an interception against the Jaguars that I remember the broadcast called a high school level interception. Those are the kinds of things that on one hand, you'll see Trubisky and the potential, and on the other hand, you'll see things that just drive you crazy. You'll see interceptions that end games or that turn games. That being said, Fletcher, I can tell you that Bears fans are more concerned at this point about the defense, at least in this game against the Saints, than they are about the offense, which is just, the tables have completely turned.
All right, Michelle, moment of truth. I don't need a score, but just who wins on Sunday and why?
If you ask me right now, knowing what I know, knowing that there's question marks around Roquan Smith, knowing that Alvin Kamara, there's a good shot of him being back on the field, I think there's a potential for the Bears to put up points, given the play of David Montgomery as of late. I've talked to plenty of defensive players in this league who have said the one guy on offense who stands out to them is David Montgomery. That being said, I do think the Saints take this 31-17. I know you didn't ask for a prediction, but that is my prediction. I think this is going to be one of the toughest and perhaps most lopsided matchups of wildcard weekend.
Yeah, Michelle Steele, I think Saints fans like hearing that. Thank you so very much for your time.